Good day, and thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. For all of our new listeners and viewers who are tuning in for the very first time, I'm Pastor Pope, and thank you for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio, where you can discuss careers, finances, entrepreneurship. You can discuss marriage, divorce, raising children, blending families. You can discuss dating and relationships, whatever's in your heart, whatever's on your mind. God is concerned about that which concerns you. And so we are here with you every Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. You may already know that Fiji water comes from Fiji. However, did you know that it is created by nature? It is untouched by man. It starts as a tropical rainfall, which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer, where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you will save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. And for those of you who continue giving on the Give segment of our app to support the broadcast, and those of you that have made a monthly or weekly commitment to support the broadcast at New Life Ministries International.com and New Life International CDC.com, we thank you for your support and for your commitment as we fulfill our commitment to God to be here for you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast. And with us, as always, on the first Thursday of every month, scheduling permitted, is with us BeccaTheDietitian.com, Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. I probably don't need to introduce her because you all love her, but Becca, so good to see you.
So good to see you too. And I apologize. There is some background noise here. I don't know if you can hear it, but I'm going to try and keep myself muted when I'm not talking to avoid any feedback here.
Well, that won't be a problem because you'll be always talking. So, so we'll just live with whatever feedbacks there is, because today is your show. With us, as always, BeccaTheDietitian.com, who gives us so much information. And Becca's going to share a topic with us today, and we're going to get right into the broadcast. So, Becca, it is so good to see you. All of our listeners and viewers have been chomping at the bit to see you, but I have to tell you, I explained to them we're going to be going to a 1-hour broadcast from 12 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And we're going to actually do that starting the first Monday in July. So you all will be with us, but Becca's going to still join us at 12:30 p.m. because that was one of the questions I've been getting. Is Becca going to be on for the whole hour? And I'm like, Becca's busy also, and her schedule permits her to be with us from 12:30 until 1. And so she'll be jumping on, but we'll be going over, she'll share a topic with me. We'll be going over some of the questions that you have so that when Becca joins us, she'll be able to answer them. So Becca, take over today and share with all of our listeners and viewers.
All right. Well, I am so excited to be here as always. So today we've been getting a lot of questions the last few months about exercise nutrition. And next Thursday, June 7th is, I actually thought it was national, but apparently it's global. So this is like a huge thing. It's Global Running Day. So perfect opportunity to cover, exercise, nutrition, running nutrition. And it's so timely, of course, with this beautiful weather that we've been having. So, whether it'll be your first run in a while, or maybe your first one ever, or, if you run all the time, I think it's a great opportunity, an excuse to get out there next Thursday. And if you're not a runner, maybe a walk. Hopefully the weather is going to be pretty nice. It's been a little bit warm lately, but at least it hasn't been humid. So it's been tolerable out here.
It was beautiful this morning when I went out for It was absolutely gorgeous. So.
All right. Yeah. It's been great. So, all right. So we've got a week to prepare. So I figured we could review a few tips for fueling your body before you run and for recovering afterwards, and touch a little bit about what to do during your run or your workout as well. So, I'm going to say running a lot, but this is going to apply to really any form of cardiovascular fitness. If your heart rate's up, it's cardio exercise. So it's okay if it's not physically running. Just know that, even though I say that, this also applies to other kinds of exercise too. But I will say running specifically and anything where you're on your feet starts with properly fitted shoes, gentle stretching, and of course, balanced nutrition. But, I can't emphasize enough the importance of making sure your shoes are up to date. They're not too worn on the bottom. Our feet are, they are the foundation for the rest of our body. So if your shoes aren't great, chances are you could be more susceptible to injury to your ankles, your knees, your hips, your back, whatever it may be. And of course, the stretching is going to be important to help reduce your risk of injury so that you can stay active after that run on next Thursday too. Now, I will say, running intensity and duration, fitness level, your gender, your diet, any diseases or, illnesses or injuries you may have, all are going to impact your nutritional needs for running and for other forms of activity. But everybody that's a runner or an exerciser, an active person needs carbs. So that's the one thing that's going to be unanimous. Everybody is going to require those carbohydrates because that's our body's preferred fuel source. Now, the type of carbohydrate we choose matters. So in general, most of the day, we want to be choosing our whole grains, fruits, vegetables. All those foods are going to provide lots of different vitamins, minerals, fiber. So keep that in mind when you're planning your meals. And then it's going to change a little bit for before exercise, and I'll get into that here just a second. So for shorter runs, so really anything under an hour, essentially, we want to have a snack beforehand. So 45 minutes to an hour before your run or your exercise, we want a high carb snack that's also low in fiber, unseasoned, low in fat. And the reason for that is because if we choose something that has too much fiber or too much fat, it's going to cause some gut issues. So maybe gas, nausea, cramping, stuff you definitely don't want to experience when you're, out on a run or at the gym. Definitely don't want to have those issues.
Rebecca, can I interrupt because
yeah,
I got to make this. I'm looking at what's coming in also, but I've got to interrupt because, for example, I went out and ran this morning, and all I did was drink water before my run. So give some examples, because I just realized, based on the information you just shared, what should we be eating? Because the reason I don't eat before I run is because I'm concerned I'm going to be a little bit bloated. I'm going to be a little bit sluggish. So I don't eat before I run, but I drink water. But what should I be eating before I run?
So water is definitely great. And some people do like to do a fasted cardio, but you'll probably notice it's a lot harder than if you have a snack before. So really the goal is to fuel so that you're going to be the most efficient and performing at your peak. So things like, well, I'm going to give some examples for breakfast time, but then also throughout the day. So like plain pasta, plain toast, maybe like a little bit of plain cereal without the milk, handful of pretzels, part of a bagel, an English muffin, a breakfast bar or like a granola bar type thing, as long as it doesn't have too much fat or fiber in it. You have to be careful. Something like a Kind bar, for instance, they have a lot of nuts and they have several grams of fiber in them. So that wouldn't be the best choice for before a run or before you're exercising. Sports drinks, even just like having regular Gatorade beforehand or a like a fruit smoothie, those are all going to be good choices for before your run so that you have more energy and you can actually get more out of the run whenever you're properly fueled. So you're going to be able to be, not only more efficient in performing at a higher level, but your body is going to get more out of it as well. So definitely a lot of benefits there.
Did I hear you say no nuts?
Yeah, I would watch out for the nuts just because they have both fiber and fat, so they could cause some stomach upset, especially if you have a sensitive stomach. Now that is for our shorter runs. Our longer runs, so anywhere, 60 to 90 minutes or longer. So we're talking marathon training, half marathon training. We want to combine those types of carbs that again are low in fiber, which is different from the rest of the day. We do want to have a healthy fat source or a lean protein source with those carbohydrates, because that's actually going to help it's going to sustain our energy level a little bit longer. So when we digest food, we tend to digest carbs first, followed by protein and then by fat. So if we combine carbohydrate with protein or carbohydrate with fat, it's going to slow down that digestive process so that we not only stay feeling full or content a little bit longer, but it's also going to sustain our energy levels over a longer period of time too. So some examples of healthy fats, lean proteins you could pair with those low, the high carb items we talked about before would be, maybe peanuts or almonds, pistachios, olives, flax seeds, flaxseed oil, and like a healthful baked good. Either you made at home or you purchased somewhere. Those are just a few examples. Some people do need to be careful of dairy, which is why I hesitate to say like yogurt or cottage cheese or anything like that. So maybe be careful there, especially if you're going out for a longer run or workout. But yeah, those are
as a pastor, I hear this all the time. People say, I feel like you were talking to me in your sermon, but I feel like you're talking to me today. But I want to make sure that all of our listeners and viewers are getting this, because, some of what Becca said, well, much of what Becca said, I was not doing already. And whether you go out and walk for an hour or whether you're going to run, in my case, 3.5 miles this morning, and I don't fuel myself before I go. I just drink water because I thought I was being more effective by being, lean, for lack of a better term, which we know that's probably not the complete case for me.
And you know what? We're all guilty of those days where we just don't want to eat something before. I've gone for runs without eating beforehand. But as long as we don't do that necessarily all the time, maybe do a mix of some days eating, some days not eating, and you'll notice, like, you'll feel so much better. You'll be able to go faster. You'll be able to cover more distance in that same amount of time. There's definitely a noticeable difference when you eat something before versus if you don't eat something.
Okay, so everyone should benefit from this, because I know I just got my takeaway, not for the day, because Becca's going to give us more information without question, but everyone should get something from this, because we're all now in the season. I know Becca said we got a global day of running coming up. The weather's been so nice. So many of us, whether you're out trying to play tennis or whether you are out trying to run or walk or play golf or whatever the case may be, we want to be able to perform peak performance. We want to be able to perform at the highest level. So Becca's giving us a lot of good information. Make sure you're writing anything down that's a good takeaway. Well, then you'd have to record all of this, but nonetheless, this is great information. Becca, I want you to continue. And I'd like you to, one of the listeners and viewers texted and said, the difference between men and women. So let's talk about that for also when we go into the next segment. But this segment has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. If you're not currently a T-Mobile customer, call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill at T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So Becca, I'd really like for you to talk to our listeners and viewers about the difference between men and women and our intakes for exercise, and because everybody's body's different, but we all have a body to fuel. So Becca, take it away.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you said, there's definitely differences between biological female and biological male bodies. And, that kind of goes into those different needs. for protein, for fat, even for carbs. We're all going to need different amounts of carbs, calories, fluid intake. They're all going to differ based on gender, among many, many other things too. But that one thing that is the same again is those carbohydrates. And generally these recommendations are pretty similar for men and for women in terms of when to eat before, exercise during and after, and how to rehydrate as well, which I'm going to talk about too. So I do want to touch on, during your run or during your workout. So there's a lot of things out there like energy chews or energy gels, or things that are advertised as like workout fuel for you to consume while you're actually performing or doing that activity. And we always have to remember these companies want to sell their products, so they're going to make it seem like something that you need. But the reality is we really don't need to be eating anything during a workout unless we're doing those longer workouts. So 60 to 90 minutes or longer. Or potentially if you are exercising with a chronic disease like diabetes, it's definitely a good idea to bring something with you, just, in case your blood sugar does start to fall, to make sure you don't have an extreme low event. That would not be a good situation for you.
No.
But for those types of people, if you are a long distance runner, if you do have a chronic disease and you're looking to get into exercise, I would highly recommend meeting with a registered dietitian, because your needs are going to be a lot more specific than what we're covering for today. So we want to make sure everybody's getting.
And you can reach that dietitian at beccathedietitian.com.
Right here. All right. So that's for during the exercise. Yeah. Again, really no need for anything during. If you're doing half marathon, marathon training, ultra marathon, Ironman, and some of these crazy races that are just like really, really long and strenuous, then you would definitely need something. And those energy chews or gels could be great. But my one piece of advice with that is try them during your training. Do not wait until the day of, because some of them may not sit well, and you want to know that before race day. So definitely try it out beforehand. Now, after the run, first thing we want to do is rehydrate. And really we need about 1.5 times the amount of fluid that we lost during the workout to be replaced after the fact. So if you lose a pound of weight in sweat while you're exercising, which is 16 ounces, that means you should be replacing your fluid with an extra 24 ounces of whatever your beverage choice may be. And a good way to figure that out is to weigh yourself before and after. And especially going into these hot and humid summer months, we're losing a lot of sweat. It's hot, it's sticky. So, kind of just maybe give it a try, see what you weigh before, see what you weigh after, and then multiply that by 1.5, and that is how much fluid you should be drinking in addition to your regular fluid needs for the day. And aside from, did you have something to say, Pastor Pope?
I do have some other questions, and I know I'm kind of making it personal today also, because I'm really back into to training and running. Becca, so you made a very interesting point. So most people don't realize this. When you're working out, you are going to lose weight in sweat. So Becca's absolutely right. I lost 1.5 pounds this morning, just
there you go,
sweating. But I didn't do what you just said. I took a bottle of water with me while I was running. So I drank a liter of water while I was running.
Oh, wow. That's great.
And when I came back, I didn't drink right away, but I am going to be drinking after I get off the broadcast. I'm going to drink some more water.
We've got plenty of water right behind you. So
yes, I try to get in 50% of my body weight throughout the day if I can. But the reality is, these little things that it's a big deal, but these little tidbits you're giving us, we don't think about it. We've got to make all of this more practical. We've got to make it applicable to our daily lives and all that we're doing. And so when you said that, I'm saying, should I have hydrated immediately, or is it okay if I just hydrate for example, after the broadcast?
I would say, since you were drinking fluids throughout your run, it's not like you hadn't had anything since the time that you started your run to whenever you drank something afterwards. You were drinking throughout. So I think that's a little bit of a different case. But if you're not someone who brings a water with you, we would want to get that in as soon as possible when you get back from your run or your workout.
And it's funny because I just started doing that
That's
this
great.
year.
That's
Just
awesome.
started carrying water with me. Before I would never carry water with me. Even when we run marathons or half marathons, I would drink on the course as they had cups, but I would never carry a bottle. It just seemed a little, inconvenient to carry the bottle with me. But
It's not the greatest
but
situation.
now I'm doing it. Yeah. But I'm doing it, and I'm carrying my Fiji water with me. But
Nice.
I'm getting, I'm hydrating as I go along, and I have to, if I have to stop to cross the highway or something, then that effect. But
Yeah, that's the
these,
perfect time.
yeah, this information you're giving us, we all have to make it applicable to our daily lives. I'm going to say that again, because this is going to be real important. And we want to develop these good habits now during the summer so that we can carry them throughout the remainder of the year. So Becca, I know I'm making it a little personal. I'm going to ask another question that one of the young ladies who works at one of our banks asked, and she's actually expecting. So this is the third person that I know that's expecting. And she said to me, well, Reverend, they always call me Reverend at the bank. And she said, Reverend, can you tell me, I'm walking, but can you ask, what can I do to eat now that I'm trying to exercise while I'm expecting my third child? So if you
Wow.
will share that.
Sure. Yeah. So fluid becomes even more important while you're expecting. So, when women are pregnant, their blood volume actually increases. So it's a lot easier for them to not get enough, or maybe to get dizzy or to faint. So especially if you're expecting, definitely bring water with you when you're exercising. And then again, make sure you're eating something before, eating something within 30 minutes of finishing your activity, and then eating regularly throughout the day as well. During pregnancy, increased needs, we need a little bit more calories, a little bit more protein, a lot of other different micronutrients as well. So we want to make sure we're getting in all the right food groups to support that and to support our growing baby, of course.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm glad that I was able to ask that question for her, because she wanted to know what should she do. She said, this is my third go round, and I'm really trying to, do the right thing. And that's,
That's great.
yeah. So and she knew you'd be on today. So please continue, Becca.
All right. Yeah.
all these questions today. And I actually had a lot of them for myself also. But guess what? I'm not the only runner that's tuned in today. So the questions I was asking Becca on my behalf also works for you too. So
And I'm sure if you're
let's
wondering these questions, someone else out there is too. So it's definitely worth
absolutely.
asking. And it's
Absolutely.
same to all the viewers. If you have a question and you're wondering, chances are someone else is too. So just shoot that text to Pastor Pope, or, right on the Facebook page, whatever it may be, because we've got an answer
Yes,
for you.
absolutely.
Anyway,
Becca has an
so
answer too.
after we've rehydrated, if we chose water, that's great. Some other options could be kind of a two bird, one stone situation. So after we hydrate, we also want to make sure we're getting in a high carb snack within 30 minutes of our exercise. So that could be in the form of a sports drink. It could be chocolate milk. It could be a fruit smoothie, fruit juice, fresh vegetable juice, something like that. So that would kind of hit the carb and hydration piece. If you rehydrated with water, we would want to just do a snack afterwards. So maybe fresh fruit, low fat milk or low fat yogurt. You could do chocolate milk, like I said. And contrary to popular belief, everybody always thinks that protein is so important post-workout. But again, it's carbohydrates. So the ideal ratio is like 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 carbs to protein post-workout. So a great example of that is chocolate milk. Chocolate milk fits that perfect 3-to-1, 4-to-1 ratio of carbs to protein. Now, don't get me wrong, protein is super important, especially if you're exercising regularly, but we don't necessarily want to get that around the workout. We want to do that throughout the day with our meals and snacks outside of our workout period. And again, I just want to remind everyone, we talked a lot about running, but these tips can translate to any form of cardiovascular exercise. So it could be the elliptical, the Stairmaster, an aerobics class, maybe even like the fast-paced style weightlifting like you would have in like a Peloton strength class, Orange Theory, F45, just to name a few examples. So if your heart rate is up like 50 to 85% of your resting rate, that's cardiovascular exercise. And these tips will apply all the same. So, but also remember, heart rate goals vary by age. So I would recommend talking to your doctor about what an appropriate target heart rate exercise heart rate goal would be for you.
So that's an excellent point. That means everyone should be getting their annual physical if they haven't already gotten it. And then you can talk to your doctor about that. Please continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
All right. Yeah. So the last thing I wanted to really say on this topic is really that it's important that we're fueling for exercise, not exercising to fuel. And what I mean by that is that we should be nourishing our bodies so that they can perform efficiently and at their peak performance. We shouldn't be exercising as an excuse to gorge ourselves on cheap foods or to make up for any guilt we might have before or after indulging. That is not the healthiest relationship to have with food. And if you do feel like you need to exercise to make up for something, maybe it might be worth meeting with the dietitian to kind of talk about how you can explore your relationship with food a little bit better. So it's all about healthy body, healthy mindset, healthy soul, all that good stuff.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I'm going to say this again. This is real important today because so many of you have been communicating about, and it's interesting because Becca and I had a text exchange and talking about today's topic. And so many of you over the last month have been talking about, trying to be whole in your body, mind, and spirit, and to really improve working out and getting more active. And we're really excited about that because we want everyone to be healthy in your body, mind, and spirit. And one of the things that I notice is that you all are saying you're trying something different, and that's a positive thing. We want you to try something different because if you keep doing the same things over and over again, you're going to get the same results. My wife and I are actually going to be playing pickleball with Becca's parents, and we've never played pickleball before, but we're just trying different things to really challenge our bodies to do some different exercises. So let's all get into that this season and make sure that we really enhance our health and wellness. Becca's giving us great information to do that. Becca, I'm going to put you on the spot just for a moment because also we've been talking about intermittent fasting. So next month, I'm going to ask Becca to really talk to you all about intermittent fasting. She'll give you the physical and body portion of it. We'll talk about the spiritual component of it, also what it's good for. But you all want to be healthy, and Becca's giving us so much information. So remember this. You need a dietitian, a nutritionist and dietitian. Go to BeccaTheDietitian.com. Becca's going to give you all the information that's necessary to improve your health and wellness. She takes all insurances that I can think of, but Becca, if you would go through the insurances that you take with everyone so they can contact their insurance company, find out if their coverage is included, and they can speak with you directly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I accept all major insurances: Aetna, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United Healthcare. I feel like I'm missing one. There's so many of them. They're hard to remember, but they're listed on my website if you want to check it out.
There you go. Well, make sure you go to BeccaTheDietitian.com and you'll see so much information that is going to be helpful to you. And Becca, I have to say to you, I know I can contact you anytime, but just listening to you today, there was so much that, applied to me personally. So as you said, if it's applying to me, it's applying to someone else also, because we all need information that's going to help us perform at a higher level to, as Becca said, peak performance. That's important. We all want to be effective and efficient. We want you to have peak performance. We want to make certain that you maximize your opportunities to be healthy and well in your body, mind, and spirit. And so, as always, Becca, the dietitian.com is with us today. Rebecca Booth, a licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist, but you all know that because you all rave about Becca. So Becca, if there's anything else you want to share with our listeners and viewers before we sign off today, please feel free to do so.
Well, I would just like to challenge everyone to get out there next Thursday on Global Running Day. Doesn't have to be a run. It could be a walk. It could be any form of activity, but I want you all to do something different that day or something the same. You know, if you're a runner, that's okay too. But everybody should be moving on June 7th.
Excellent, excellent. And today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast 3D has been brought to you by Fiji Water, a taste of paradise we delivered right to your front door